We are back here at the White House after a long holiday weekend. I hope everyone had a wonderful Labor Day. Now, on the Tuesday schedule at 2 o'clock today in the Oval Office, President Trump expected to make a major announcement. Now, there is some speculation that has to do with the name change. Department of Defense could be called the Department of War. We'll find out here in a few. Also, I spent a few minutes with Director Bill Pulte in regards to the housing issues that we're faced with right now. Take a listen. Director Pulte joining us now. There's so much going on out of your department. Let's start with the mortgage fraud and all of the individuals that you have found them alleged to have committed mortgage fraud.
Well, it's concerning because a lot of these people are public officials, and people don't want us to focus on public officials because many times they think that they're above the law. They're not above the law. In President Trump's America, we're not going to allow for mortgage fraud.
Isn't it amazing that they use that against President Trump, the previous administration, falsely, I might add, but then when you actually find evidence, they debunk all of that?
Well, I think it's a lot worse than we think it is, because these people, either because they were doing that or otherwise, thought that they could get away with it, and they still think they can get away with it, and they try to rationalize it and say, oh, these are clerical errors and these type of things. Boy, if those are clerical errors, then why do they always yield more savings and more money towards the people who are committing so-called clerical errors?
Yeah, we've often talked about achieving the American dream of buying and owning a home. Let's talk about the status right now in America for affordable housing for people that perhaps graduate from college, they want to buy their starter home, start a family. Where are we at on the reality of that being something that can be normalized right now?
Well, Biden destroyed the housing market the last 4 years, and we had inflation that was totally out of control, and so interest rates went up, and so these builders have all pulled back on their investments in this country. We've got to get these builders back out. We got to get this housing supply going again and make it so people can actually afford a home. People can't afford a home in this country. It's totally crazy. People are living with their parents and everything. We're the world's biggest economy. We need to get this housing market back in shape, and I'm very confident that both with what's going on with the Federal Reserve as well as what the president's doing, that we're going to get this housing market back in shape.
I was just going to ask you about rates. Where are we at on rates, and do you anticipate a rate cut sooner than later?
I do think that they'll cut rates, but I think we also need to get a new chairman in there who's not politically involved and can really just make decisions based on math. I mean, he's holding these interest rates at 4.5%. And people's mortgage rates are, close to 7%, and really inflation's only at 1.5%. They should be equal with each other. So rates should be 3% lower as far as I'm concerned. Can you imagine what would happen if mortgage rates were 3% lower? You'd have a building boom, and most importantly, people would be able to afford a home in this country. People would be able to afford their mortgage payments. So that's where we're going to get back to, is people being able to afford their mortgages.
You were certainly the expert on this topic. If you want more information, social media is for someone to follow you, because you do push out a lot of valuable information and tools for future home buyers.
Add Pulte. We'll get this
simple as that.
We'll get this country back in gear thanks to President Trump.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
We'll be right back with more